family and I have a tradition every Christmas. For Christmas dinner, we always pick a different culture and we have a fully themed Christmas dinner based on that culture. Last year we did the Mexican culture. This year we're going with Germany. So I thought, what more of an appropriate beer to make than a Vienna Lager. While my mash water's heating up here, I figured I'd kind of go over maybe the grist with you guys a little bit. So for this one, I'm trying to keep it, basically traditional Vienna Lager, so mostly Vienna Malt. I do have a little bit of Munich in there, a little bit of CaraMunich for color, and I did put a tiny bit of Carafa II in there for color as well too. I had a couple other grains kind of floating around too that I kind of just wanted to get rid of, real small amounts. So I will post a link, I will post the recipe below for anybody that wants to follow it, and I will definitely be letting you know how it tastes. I did want to mention this will be my second lager, only my second lager. My first one I did at Martzen, which is real similar in style to a Vienna Lager, and it came out real well. So for this one, I was going to try something a little different. I was going to try a step mash, which is basically just what it sounds like. I'm going to take my mash through steps. So the first step was going to be 15 minutes at 128, and then I was going to do a rest at 148 for 30 minutes, and then bring it up to 158 for another 30 minutes. So I am going to do a 75-minute mash total for this one over those 3 steps. We'll see how it goes. So I feel like I was a little bit of a noob here on this step mash. Everything seemed to be going okay, but then, I use a propane burner, so I am having to turn the burner on, and I use brew in a bag. So I've got my bag in there, I've got the burner on, and I feel like I'm smelling something burning when I have it on there to bring it up to for the 3rd step mash. And so I panicked. I pulled the bag to check and make sure everything was okay. And then I decided to take a gravity reading, and I was already above what my starting gravity was supposed to be. And so I just pulled the bag. I did not do the 3rd step. So I ended up mashing for 15 minutes at 128, and then for 30 minutes at 148. And then I was starting to bring it up to 158, and I made it about 5 minutes and pulled the bag. But my starting gravity was supposed to be a 1041, and I hit 1045. So I think everything's gonna be okay. It smells good now. It's over there boiling away. I'm just gonna proceed. I started kind of cleaning some things up, and I just reminded myself that I should relax. And I know it's a mini, but relax, have a home brew. Hop additions on this one, keeping it simple, a ½ ounce of Magnum at 60, and then at 10 minutes, gonna throw in an ounce of Tettnang. Never get a shot of the yeast pitch. I promised myself I would get a shot of the yeast pitch for this one, so I will. And I'm going to even show you the yeast that I'm using. I'm using Wyeast Bavarian Lager 2206. I am using 3 pouches of this. I was feeling a little lazy and I didn't want to make a starter, so I got 3 pouches of this. I've got it looks like about 5 3/4 gallons going in the fermenter, so I should have a full 5 gallons that I transfer to a keg. this one, Plan B Vienna Lager, because I was supposed to brew a Munich Dunkel, but had to change it at the last minute because, well, I didn't have the correct grains. So this one ended up being Plan B. I think it's going to be better in the end anyway, since Vienna Lager is one of my favorite styles of beer. I actually had no idea that one of my favorite beers was a Vienna Lager. It goes back to many years to my honeymoon in Cancun, Mexico. I spent the week relaxing by the pool and beach with my new bride, and my drink of choice was Negro Modelo. During my research for this beer style, I learned there are a few Mexican beers that are considered Vienna Lagers. Negro Modelo and Dos Equis Amber, to name a few. And I really enjoyed both of those, as well as Sam Adams Boston Lager. And there's way too many other Vienna Lagers to list. Prior to brewing my Vienna Lager, I had never actually poured a Negro Modelo out. I know, you should always pour your beer in a glass. Shame on me. And I noticed something when I did. Well, let me just show you. So, for part of my research, I went and grabbed some Negro Modelo. Check that out. Look at that color. I think I knew it was more amber, but just never really paid attention to it. I guess I just assumed that all Mexican lagers were pale and crushable. Anyway, BJCP guidelines state that a Vienna Lager should be copper to reddish brown and brilliant to clear. I think Negro Modelo does it very well. And they just go down so smooth. So, let's take a look at my Vienna Lager. Well, here it is. Definitely not as dark as the Negro Modelo, but I'd say it's copper color, and it is very clear. So before I taste it, let me just recap fermentation for you real quick. I fermented this for 6 days at 53, and when it was close to final gravity, it was about 90% done, I then ramped it up to 64 for another 4 days, and then one day at 68 just to make sure it was finished. I took a final gravity reading, and it was 1012, which was the projected final gravity, giving this beer a 5.3% ABV. I also sampled and didn't taste any diacetyl or any other off flavors, so it was ready to rack. I pressurized my Firmzilla all-rounder. Love that fermenter, by the way. Pressurized it to 10 psi, cold crashed over the course of about 36 hours. I added gelatin to the keg and transferred to my purge keg under pressure. I then placed the beer in the fridge, hooked it up to gas, where it's been conditioning for a whopping 7 days. I know, it's supposed to lager for a while, but I'm super impatient, and that's why I use gelatin. It's funny, I was listening to an old Brewlosophy podcast recently on Vienna Lager, and they called gelatin lager powder, or liquid lager. I thought that was fitting. It really does speed things up, and like I said, I'm impatient and I want my beer done as quickly as I can without sacrificing any flavor. Alright, so let's taste this thing. We've already talked about appearance, and it fits the style guidelines for that. Little disclaimer here, the only qualifications I have for tasting beer are that I've tasted a lot of beer. I'm definitely not a pro, but I'll do my best. So let's go in for aroma. I get kind of very little of anything, actually. Little maltiness, little sweetness, not a ton of hop aroma that I can pick on or pick up on. I don't want to pick on my aroma. It smells clean. We'll go on to the taste. Clean. Clean and bready. Not a ton of hop bitterness. I think it could maybe use a little bit more bitterness. Nice mouthfeel. Very clean. I like that. It's definitely drinkable and crushable. I think maybe it could use a little bit more bitterness, so maybe next time I'll add a little bit more at the bittering addition. Clean, bready. This is drinkable. Definitely drinkable. I could have a few of these. That's good. So I'm going to give this overall like maybe 3 or 4 stars out of 5. I like it. I can tell I'll be able to drink a few of these at a time. Hopefully others will find the same. So I've got my Christmas shirt on. If you remember, this beer was brewed to accompany our German-themed Christmas dinner. I was really looking forward to getting some family members' thoughts on the beer when they were here, but the way things are going in California right now with this pandemic, that's going to be kind of hard. But thanks to another YouTube channel that I absolutely love, shout out to Martin Keene and the Homebrew Challenge, I just watched his latest episode and he did a review of the Tap Cooler counter pressure bottle filler. Looks like I may need a new toy to fill some bottles to send to all that family that's going to miss out and won't be able to attend. Well, anyway, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're interested in other beer-related content, consider subscribing. Until the next brew, cheers.